Hi guys, in this video we will look at the poem The Man by Seitlhamo Motsapi. Let's start by looking at the context of the poem. This poem is written in first person, which means that the speaker uses the words I, me, and my. It's almost as if the speaker is speaking directly to readers and explaining to them what happens throughout the poem. The speaker tells readers that he grew up in a village and later moved away to pursue a professional career in town. He did this to make something of himself. The speaker recalls seeing someone from his childhood, the man, come into town. The speaker talks about the dreams that he and others in his village used to have as children, and he highlights that the man, whom he had seen recently, had the complete opposite dream and aspiration. He describes this man as a blushing angel, and he tells readers how he wished to serve his village and not to abandon it like the rest of the children who lived there. Readers get the impression that the man was selfless and cared deeply for the people in his village. There's also a sense of admiration for the selflessness of the man. This man was different. Now let's take a look at the structure of the poem. As you can see here, this poem has 22 lines and 5 stanzas. There is no rhyme scheme, so the poem is described as being free verse. Throughout the poem, there is enjambment. There is no punctuation and no capitalization. The theme is a humble life is often worth more than an ambitious one. The tone is that of admiration. The poet admired the man for his humbleness and selflessness. Let's read and analyze each line of the poem in more detail. An almost forgotten acquaintance was in town recently. I noticed that it started raining, just as he ambled in. So here in line 1, the word acquaintance means a person one knows slightly, but who is not a close friend. So it's just someone that you're familiar with, basically. And this shows us that the poet was familiar with this person in the past. The word forgotten shows us that the poet admits to nearly forgetting this person, that the person didn't really stand out to him. So maybe the person wasn't memorable. Here in line 2, we can see that the speaker stays in town. He lives away from the village, and that this person from his past, the man, just came into town one day. In line 3, it says, I noticed that it started raining. So here the poet says that it started raining as soon as this man ambled in. And rain in Africa is symbolic for something good. Africa is known for having severe droughts, and when it rains, people celebrate because it means that the drought is over and that water is available for crops and cattle. So rain is a positive symbol, and we get a sense that this person, the man, is associated with goodness and blessings. Here in line 4, the word ambled means to walk or move at a slow and relaxed pace. So it shows us the peaceful nature of this person, the man. And it shows us that this person was not caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. He was very relaxed and peaceful, and you could see this even in his walk. I remember him as a simple man. Growing up, we all wanted to be doctors, lawyers, and teachers, so the blood could ebb out of the village. So here in line 5, the word simple implies plain, basic, or uncomplicated. And this accurately describes the man, or the person that the poet speaks about. And it could maybe be the reason why the speaker forgot about him, because he is plain and simple. He can be easily forgotten or overlooked. Here in line 6 it says, growing up, we all wanted to be doctors, lawyers, and teachers. So here we see the relationship the speaker has with this person, the man. They grew up together, so we can assume that they grew up in the same village. Here in line 7, the speaker describes the goals that the children of the village had. They all wanted to pursue professional careers that were esteemed or had a good reputation, doctors, lawyers, and teachers. And here in line 8, the speaker actually says, so the blood could ebb out of the village. And the word ebb here means the flowing away of liquid, basically leaking out. It's something negative. And this basically means that the village would lose blood. And when something loses blood, it is associated with death. Basically, once the children leave, the village would die out. So the village will die if all the young people move away. My friend had much more sober dreams. He asked the heavens to grant him the imposing peace of the blue gum in his backyard, and that all the poor would send him their tears, so that he could be humble like the sun, so the red wax of the stars would not drip onto him. Here in line 9, the word sober means serious, sensible, and solemn. And in line 9, the speaker actually describes this person as my friend. So the speaker describes his relationship with the man or this person as my friend. So it is no longer acquaintance. It's sort of as if he begins to remember more details about the man. He now says my friend. And it's important to note that this man's dreams were described as being sober. So here we see a contrast between the dreams of the other children, who were to be doctors, lawyers, and teachers, and the dreams of the man. So the man's dreams were not as big as the rest. The man's dreams were more realistic and down to earth. In line 10 and 11, we see that the man asked the heavens to grant him the imposing peace of the blue gum in his backyard. So the word imposing here in line 11 means grand and impressive in appearance. So basically big. He asked the heavens to grant him lots of peace of the blue gum in his backyard. And the blue gum is a common large tree that is well anchored. So its roots run deep, it's very sturdy, it's very strong. So basically, the man asked the heavens to give him a large amount of peace, so that he could be an anchor for his community. He basically asked God to give him an abundance of peace and serenity. And the reason he asked for this peace is because he wanted the poor to come to him. And we see that in line 12. And that all the poor would send him their tears so that he could be humble like the sun. And here, line 12 is just a metaphor for the poor coming to him to discuss and to seek help with their problems and burdens. He wanted this peace so that he could basically transfer it to the distressed, to the poor, and to those who needed him. He wanted to help people with their problems and their burdens. And here in line 13 it says, so that he could be humble like the sun. And the word humble means not thinking of yourself as better than other people. He didn't want this peace so that he could be superior. He wanted it to help others. He had very good intentions. The poet uses the word sun in line 13, and this sort of shows us that the man would be like a source of light and warmth to his village. The sun gives and serves, and the man wanted to do the same. He wanted to be like the sun and give light. So he doesn't have any selfish desires. He just wanted to help others. In line 14, it says, so the red wax of the stars would not drip onto him. And here the stars are described as being candles, which drip red wax. So this could be symbolic for the aspirations or dreams that melt away and cause pain and disappointment. And we get this because red is associated with danger, blood, and strife. And the man does not want any of this. We know that the man's goal, the man's aspiration, is to have such a large amount of peace that he could actually help others and be an anchor in his community. I remember that man today, and all I think of is his unassuming radiance, like that of a blushing angel. So here in line 15, the speaker now fully remembers the man. In the beginning, he was an acquaintance. Then it changed to my friend. And now the speaker admits to finally remembering this man. Now he remembers fully. And in line 16, the poet says, And all I think of is his unassuming radiance. The word unassuming in line 16 means not pretentious and not arrogant. So the poet remembers this man as being unpretentious and not arrogant. He was humble. And the word radiance shows us that the poet remembers this man for the warmth and goodness that radiated from him. And this sort of links up to the man's goals and aspirations. He wanted to be peace and he wanted to serve his community. And that is how the poet remembers him, even as a child. This man was good and filled with warmth and wanted to serve. So here in line 17, the poet describes him as being a blushing angel. So angels are associated with goodness and being caring, and this is exactly what the man is, good and caring. Blushing is caused by shyness, so another way of describing humbleness and humility. Once again, the poet emphasizes just how humble and caring and good the man is and was as a child as well. The man does not want glory or attention for his good works. He does everything for the sake of others. He is completely unselfish. As for his dreams, he tells us, whole forests invade his sleep at night, so that there's only standing room for the dreams. So here in line 18, as for his dreams, this refers to the man's wishes or his desires. And here the poet says that the man tells them that whole forests invade his sleep at night. So invade means to enter a place, situation, or sphere of activity in large numbers. And the word forest here links back to the blue gum tree we saw in the previous stanza. So he is content, the man is content and filled with so much peace that there is no room in his mind for selfish desires and idle dreams. He is at peace. This man has so much peace that there's no room for selfishness, basically. He says that all he thinks about is being an anchor to his people, being a source of light and warmth to his people, and basically serving them. So there's no place in his mind for selfish aspirations or dreams to better himself. He just seeks to better those in his community. So here in line 21 we see, so that there's only standing room for the dreams. Standing room basically means that there's only enough space to stand without movement. So once again, the poet emphasizes that this man has no room for idle wishes or selfish aspirations. There is nothing selfish in this man's mind. Let's take a look at the internal analysis of the poem. The speaker remembers a man he used to know when he saw him entering the town. The speaker then talks about the dreams that he and others had when they were children living in a village. Most of the children wanted to become professionals and leave the village, whereas this man, my friend, had other more sober dreams. The man wanted peace and to serve the poor. His dreams were not of moving out of the village and earning a good living. He only wanted to contribute in a humble way to the people of his village. The man's dream was the exact opposite of those who dreamt of becoming doctors, lawyers, and teachers. We see a lack of punctuation and capitalization in the poem, and this reflects the simple, uncomplicated life and the simplicity of the man. Lastly, let's take a look at some of the themes we see in this poem. We see a theme of Ubuntu. This is an ancient African word meaning humanity to others. It is linked to the saying, I am what I am because of who we all are. So emphasis is placed on growing as a community. And this is the theme we see. The man did not care about himself. He cared about the community. He cared about his village and uplifting them. We also see the theme of selfish ambition versus selfless ambition. So the other people or the other children wished to better themselves and leave the village, whereas the man wished to stay and use his talents or gifts to serve his village. The other children of the village all had selfish ambitions, but the man was selfless. Then we see the theme of materialism versus charity. Others wanted status and a noble career as a doctor, lawyer, or teacher, whereas the man only wanted peace. He asked the heavens to grant him the imposing peace of the blue gum tree. Thanks so much for watching. If this has helped you, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments section. All the best with your exams. Till next time.